Going to a football match in the middle of pandemic feels like an undergoing indoors task in a reality TV show. A pre-match message instructs me to arrive at Hampden Park in Glasgow 3 hours before Scotland kick off against the Republic. I must wear a mask at all times. I must stick in all food from my micro bag into a plastic bag provided by the stadium, and all the catering outlet would be shut. So no fancy burgers or cartoons of La Pepsi to keep me going. When I immediately turn up to the stadium 3 hours early, the crowds are predictably sparse. The pub outside the ground overflows with supporters wrapped in Scotland flag looked like a tempting alternative. But when I suggest to a steward that might go get a drink ahead of the game, a look of concern crosses her kindly face. Be careful which pub you're going to, she says. That was your coming. What is she referring to? Could it be the Dutch book bag A4 size that I'm clutching? I have given my spare ticket to Rear Scott, my friend Alastair, who is from Edinburgh, so also not 100% at home in Glasgow. We decide to take the device and skip the pub. Inside the stadium, we encounter a fan in the loudest tartan suit I've ever seen, including a tiny tartan clutch bag. I pose for a photo with him and they tells me, I had it tailor-made, son. It fits me like a glove. It is not just COVID regulation that make this unique and peculiar PM football tournament, as UEFA still insists on calling it, has also become sucked into the culture wars. The pub outside the ground of national football team are symbol of the nation, but that is not a straightforward task at a time when national identity is so fiercely contested. For Scotland, the pressing issue is independence. For England, it is race. The English football team has decided to take the knee before matches as a protest against racism, but each time they do it, they are booed by a significant section of their own supporters. Even the government seems uncertain about how to respond. After hesitating for a while, Boris Johnson, Prime Minister, condemned the booing and urged fans to get behind the team, but two members of his cabinet, Jacob Rees-Mogg and Priti Patel, defended the protest, with Rees-Mogg suggesting that the protesters are not expressing racism but condemning the Marxist of Black Lives Matter movement. Patel, Britain's Home Secretary, has accused players of indulging in gesture in politics. Players from the England team, whose pre-game press conferences are normally confined to discussing tactics, injuries, and the atmosphere inside the camp, now being asked to react Home Secretary, it would be natural to assume that cabinet ministers are better at politics than footballers, but the Johnson government has reason to be worried of the clashing with the England team. Last year, it went down to an economic defeat when it took on Marcus Rashford over the extension of free school meals for families. The Manchester United and England Forum mobilized a million signatures behind the petition and forced the Johnson government to change tack. The Johnson, the 23-year-old Rashford preparation for Euro 2020 included a Zoom call with Obama, while plenty of Tories are prepared to grumble about the work in Rashford in private. None are willing to take him in public. But culture wars over football are not just happening in Britain. When the multiracial Belgian team took the knee in Russia ahead of their opening game in the tournament, they were also booed by the crowd. Doubtless the Russians were also protesting against Marxism. Viktor Orban, Prime Minister of Hungary, one of the host nations for Euro 2020, had defended fans who boo visiting teams that take the knee, saying that Hungarians see the gesture as a provocation. Orban is himself a right-wing provocateur who has become a hero to the Trumpist right in America by issuing frequent warnings about alleged dangers of Europe being flooded by Muslims. But even some moderate conservatives are uncomfortable about footballers taking the knee. One prominent Tory thinker in Britain laments to me that football has been a political sport, but now the national team has become a source of division. I can see what it means. This year's tournament inevitably brings back memories of Euro 96, when England also played their games at Wembley, and the whole country seemed to get behind the team in an uncomplicated sort of way. Back then, packed the stadium all joined in the singing of the lines, "Football's coming home." Now the stadiums are largely empty and some of the home crowds are actually booing the players. But as somebody who has been to many England games over the years, I know that the I know that the team was never mixed up with politics or race is an illusion. England games have always attracted a substantial number of solid hooligan and far-right supporters, whose trademark chant is "No surrender to the IRA." At the last European Football Championship in France in 2016, the ugly tradition of English football hooliganism re-emerged when I remarked to another fan that I hadn't particularly enjoyed being caught up in a near riot. Outside of Bayern Marseille, I was told curtly, "If you don't like it, you should stay at home and watch the game on television." Football ground in the 1970s were also where I saw the most over racism that I ever witnessed in Britain. It was routine to see black players bark Bibles and monkey noises. The football authorities and commentators were silent about this for many years, so if the current national side feel they want to make a statement about racism, it is hard to accuse them of bringing politics into the political space. The politics, partially the racial politics, have always been there. The identity issues are rather different for Scotland. Euro 2020 comes as the Scottish government is ramping up demand for a second independence referendum. This is the first major international tournament the team has qualified for since 1998, neatly fitting the narrative of national revival. Arriving in Scotland for the first game of the tournament, I find the local paper full of optimism. In recognition of the enormity of the occasion, the Scottish government has even allowed schools the lesson to allow the kid to watch the game again check sleeps. As a visiting English fan, I wonder how I feel about all this. I grew up supporting Scotland in big international tournaments. I had little option since England failed to qualify for the World Cup in 1974 and 1978. 78. But British identity was less complicated back then. Packed the stadium. The anthem play Back then, the anthem play for the Scotland side that lined up to play Brazil in 1974 was "God Save the Queen," although the YouTube recording does not show the Scottish player looking particularly delighted. The team was belting out for the Scotland side that lined up to play Brazil in 1974 was "God Save the Queen," although the YouTube recording does not show the Scottish player looking particularly delighted. The, t- Today, thanks the crowd and applause with the story that we can still be Dutch nation again. When Scotland qualified for the World Cup in 1973, there were more than 90,000 people inside Hampden. But today, thanks to COVID, a little over 9,000 people. A little over 9,000 people. Far from the joyous return to the big time that has been advertised, it feels pretty black and lonely in the stand, even if the Turtle army has been reduced to little more than a couple of battalion. They belt out Love Scotland loud enough to drown out conversation. The team started the game with all the expected passion and stream forward. Their captain Andy Robertson can be seen gesturing to his player to calm down. Then the tech score and the air is sucked out of the stadium. At halftime, Richard Chu spent the toilet in the toilet next to the hand dryer. It's the warmest spot in Hampden. There is hopeful chatter around the union that Scotland might still be able to turn this round, but early in the second half, football history is made by the text. Patrick Schick, the team centre forward, gets the ball on the halfway line and floats the ball over the Scottish goalkeeper into the net. It is one of the most brilliant goals any of us will ever witness. The crowd is now almost totally silent, apart from a tiny group of cheering Czechs on the other side of the stadium, and a group of children near me who continue happily shouting for Scotland, while the other around them was frozen in horror. After the match, Alastair reminds me that Scottish fans are used to bitter disappointment. Making the national football team a symbol of the nation is a double-edged sword. We imagine them scoring wonderful goals and celebrating with the fans. But what if your goalkeeper floundering flat on his back and tangled them in the net? Euro 2020 has already delivered humbling setback for two football mad popular leaders. By the Czech petition, the team said to forget the bond of the internet. It is one of the most brilliant goals any of us will ever witness. The crowd is now almost totally silent, apart from a tiny group of cheering Czechs on the other side of the stadium and a group of children near me who continue happily shouting for Scotland, while the other around them was frozen in horror. After the match, Alistair reminds me that Scottish are used to bitter disappointment. Making the national football team a symbol of the nation is double-edged sword. We imagine them scoring wonderful goals and celebrating with the fans. But what if your goalkeeper floundering flat on his back and tangled them in the net? Euro 2020 has already delivered humbling setbacks for two football-mad populist leaders. Urban gave permission for a capacity crowd to attend Hungary's opening games in Budapest against Portugal, only to see the national side lose 3-0. Recep Tayyip Erdogan, president of Turkey, traveled to Azerbaijan and sat in a place of honor in the next to Azar prison, from where he was able to see Turkey go down to a 2-0 defeat against Wales. England fans also have a habit disappointing their most ardent fans. The side often portrays as the embodiment of what we like to believe are national characteristics: courage, calmness under pressure. In fact, as a recent piece by Jonah Leo in The Guardian pointed out, England are uniquely bad at holding a lead in a tournament. The numbers seem to suggest they might even be battlers, and that or healthy. The French and Italians are much better at holding their nerve when they take lead. If Gareth Southgate, the England major, can somehow break this cycle and turn England into a winning outfit, he would inadvertently provide a huge boost to a Johnson government that is desperate for symbol of the success of Brexit Britain. But Southgate has subtly but mistakenly positioned himself to the left of the government, taking the knee. He leads a multiracial team and has reluctantly defended the right to make statements on subjects other than football. It has become accepted wisdom in Britain that cultural wars always work better for the right and the left, but football may be an exception. A poll taken across Europe before Euro 2020 showed 54% of English football fans supported taking the knee, with 39% opposed. If the England team keep winning, the number in favour may rise, along with the team's popularity. For once, the right may find itself in the wrong end of a culture war. For the duration of Euro 2020, I will care much less about who wins the culture wars than who wins the tournament. For Scotland, Euro 2020 began with a deflating defeat. The England team disappointed their fans almost as reliably as the Scots, though slightly later in the day. On the other hand, this is a real tournament. It's taking place in the middle of a pandemic, and stadiums are quarter full, and England are playing half decently. I am allowing myself to further wear this outcome of the lot. An England victory.